Special Weapons and Tactics Teams, also known as SWAT teams, are handpicked police officers who are willing to face danger, train vigorously, and hold themselves to a higher standard than normal cops. These groups of specially trained men and women are sent to do the jobs in law enforcement that are known to be too dangerous for one or two patrol officers to handle. In the late 1960s and 70s, the occurrence of high-risk confrontations with dangerous, well-armed criminals had skyrocketed since earlier years. It was realized that groups of specialized police officers were needed. When a student at the University of Texas climbed up a 300-foot tower and held off everyone for many hours with a hunting rifle, finally, 3 men, 2 sheriff's deputies, and 1 civilian climbed the tower and silenced the sniper with a volley of shotgun blasts.
By 1967, the department had trained and equipped 60 officers and collected them into their own dedicated unit. The unit was organized into 6 squads, each with 5 members, a leader, a sniper, an observer, a scout, and a rear guard. Gates wanted to call the unit SWAT from the beginning. At first it stood for Special Weapons Attack Teams, but was rejected as too military. It was accepted when modified to Special Weapons and Tactics.
In 1974, the Los Angeles Police Department formed a group of officers and trained them in counterterrorism and military tactics. Since that time, nearly every major United States police department has made their equivalent to Los Angeles' SWAT team. Even most small departments have recognized the importance of these teams and either have one of their own or have access to one.
In 1974, the LAPD had to confront the dangerous members of the Siboney's Liberation Army. These violent criminals had a long track record consisting of bank robberies, kidnappings, and murders. After extensive planning, the SWAT team raided the small house that the lead members of the SLA were staying. The criminals resisted arrest and a 50-minute gunfight started. Towards the end of the fight, the members set their own house on fire and burned themselves to death. This showed the world that the cops will always win. It is only a matter of time.
Hi, we're at the site of the first major SWAT operation. It happened December 9th, 1969, when SWAT officers from the LAPD tried to issue arrest warrants to members of the Black Panther organization for illegal arms possession. The Black Panthers resisted arrest and started a shootout with 40 members of the SWAT team. The shootout lasted 4 hours until the Black Panthers surrendered. Thousands of rounds of ammunition were fired, resulting in 3 officers and 3 Panthers wounded. This is where the first shots were fired and the 2 officers were wounded. From here, the mission started going badly. The real mission on every SWAT team is to solve the conflict peacefully with no casualties on either side. The LAPD definitely had a lot to learn from this first confrontation. This event caused SWAT teams everywhere to raise their standards. This shootout happened at 41st and Central Street in Los Angeles. I'm now standing at the point where the senior SWAT members planned the entire assault. Planning is an important part of SWAT mission, but the mission did not quite go to as planned.
Physical test that the candidates are put through is very grueling.
SWAT team operators need to be in top physical condition, both mentally and physically. They need to be in shape physically so that they can move quickly, overcome obstacles, and shoot their weapons well under trying conditions. The mental health of a SWAT team member needs to be tip-top in order for them to deal with adversity and stay calm. This state of mind will allow them to do their best to prevent the loss of life. SWAT teams also train to perform drug raids, stop barricaded gunmen, and to issue high-risk arrest warrants.
Some departments set extremely high standards for physical fitness and tactical proficiency, with membership on the team treated like a very special privilege reserved for only the most motivated. The teams train together regularly, starting with a half-hour military-style training and then a 2-mile run across the desert. Then there are classes in live-fire tactical training. Team members are frequently tested and evaluated. The minimum passing score is 100%. Much of the training is done in a house, with the more experienced and more highly trained people conducting classes for newcomers. They must go through rigorous stretching routines, sometimes lasting up to an hour long.
One of the main missions of SWAT teams around the country is hostage rescue. This usually consists of entering a building, neutralizing the hostage takers, and removing the hostages from danger. This aspect of their job requires that they train to enter buildings quickly and with surprise, and that if needed, they fire their weapons with extreme accuracy.
We're live at Granite Falls, Washington, where the county SWAT team is about to raid a meth lab. This is a very dangerous assignment because the criminals are believed to have weapons. They must stay covert at all times. Go.
Police, freeze! Get down!
They're probably apprehending the criminal right now.
Clear, clear. Suspect!
They all have their AOR, which is area of responsibility. They split up in different rooms to make sure the perimeter is safe.
Put your hands down! Drop the weapon!
I think they may have caught the criminal. I hear noise.
Bring out a suspect! Keep your hands where we can see him.
She may not look dangerous, but the meth addicts never do.
On your knees. Cross your ankles.
All right, rookie. Hostage situation. Remember your training.
Please freeze! Ah! Put down the gun!
Ah!
What? SWAT team kills hostage?
Come in!
How do you explain this?
My goggles were fogged up. I couldn't see anything.
Give me those. Take these. Smiths never fog up.
If you don't want fog, get Smith gogs.
We've got a hostage situation.
Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Sir, you alright?
M16, set up for nothing but the best.
Hi, today we're here at Columbine High School. We're on April 20th, 1999. Two crazed students burst into the school and started killing their classmates. When the Jefferson County SWAT team arrived on the scene, they tried to assess the situation and determine whether or how and where they should go into the building to limit the loss of their officers and students in the building. Today we brought Officer Jake B. He was there on April 20th. What was it like on that day?
It was the most terrible thing I could ever imagine. It was by far the worst day of my life and my career. As the SWAT team, something like that is the one thing you never want to see.
Why didn't you guys just charge in right when you got here?
We had no for sure description of the suspects. For the safety of the students remaining inside the building and our SWAT team, we didn't want to just charge in there and not knowing where the suspects were or what they looked like.
Thanks a lot. I hope you never have to go through that again. It's clear that the prospect of students killing students has made a whole new obstacle for SWAT teams to overcome. Since Columbine, SWAT teams all over the country have started training in ways to clear out schools and determine who the criminals are and who are the innocents.
SWAT teams have been common for only about 20 years, but in the short time they have become an essential part of most urban law enforcement organizations.